Kia ora, good morning. I'm just documenting a dream. I dreamt I was outside. Um, it was like an outside courtroom, and it looked like the aisle of a plane, like seats on one side, seats on the other. And there were all these people on the chairs, and there was a big long table. And for some reason, Keir Starmer was there. And I was taking a test where I was reciting stuff from this book that I had, and instead of full stops on this test I was taking, it was the Switzerland flag. There was just little tiny Switzerland flags all over this page, and I was having to recite like quotes and sayings and proverbs and all that sort of thing. And Keir Starmer was sitting there in one of the chairs, and he was not happy. Like, he was really not happy. His face was all straight, and he was just, he wasn't showing any sort of emotion or anything like that. His face was just straight. And as I was talking, I'm kind of walking up and down, and I'm holding this book, and I'm just reading from this book. But how do I explain it? I was reading from this book, but I was also reading from memory, the quotes and the proverbs and that sort of thing. And whoever was at the long desk, they were really proud of me. They were really happy with me. There were about 6 or 7 people. I don't know who they were because I could only kind of see their silhouettes. And the more I was talking, the brighter the light was getting. And I'm just trying to explain it. And then I closed the book, and the people at the long table started clapping, and I just heard, that was fantastic, now you can go. And I put the book down and started walking down the aisle of, the rows of seats on both sides. And next thing you know, instead of it being outside with 2 rows of seats, I was walking down the aisle of an aeroplane. And I went to go through, you know how they separate like first class, business class, economy class? I started because it was on the grass outside, the rows of chairs were, and I was reciting. It's like I was passing a test. I was doing a test. I had to do this test where I had to recite like quotes and proverbs and that sort of thing. And the people after I finished, I closed the book. Keir Starmer was not happy, and the people at the table were saying, oh my God, fantastic! That was like fantastic, well done, like that was incredible. And I closed the book. I just remembered that there was teeny tiny little Switzerland flags all over this book, like where there were full stops. And then I put the book down, and they said, fantastic, like that was a job well done. Now you can go. And I started walking down the aisle like in the grass because we were in a field. And when I was walking down, sorry, sorry, I just woke up. So then I started walking down the aisle, but then it turned into the aisle of a plane. And I went to walk through the door, like down to take my seat, but it's like business class and economy and first class were at the back of the plane. And when I went to walk through the flight attendant, the air hostess, pulled back the curtain so that I could go into take my seat in business class. My boys were sitting there, and they were all ready to go. They were playing like Game Boy or something like that. They had like little controllers in their hand, and they were playing video games. And as I went to step through, there was just like this burst of white light. It's like it's like the scenery melted, and I stepped into the universe. It's like what I was looking at melted, like melted away. You know, in the olden days when they used to make films, and when they used to put like cigarette burns into the film, and you'd see it melt on the screen, sort of thing. Some people might be too young to remember that, but it kind of, yeah, it's like where I was standing on the plane melted just like before I went to take my seat in business class, and it was like a portal opened up, and I was on the plane about to take my seat in business class next to my boys, and when I went to step through, the scenery melted, and it was like a hole in the scenery just appeared out of nowhere, like hovering, getting bigger and bigger. And when I stepped through, I stepped into the universe, like where it was black and you could see all the stars and like the constellations. And I remember it was really warm, not hot or like hell or anything. It was just really warm. And I'm trying to explain it because I'm still half asleep. I was, I'm trying to explain it. I stepped through the portal and I was walking around the universe like I was about 1,000,000 feet tall. Like I was, imagine, imagine the universe being contained inside a crystal ball or a snow globe, and I was standing inside of it, but remove the snow globe. It's the only way I can describe it. It's like I was walking around the universe, but I wasn't like a teeny tiny little human. I was like this giant entity who had complete control of walking around the universe. I can't explain it. I stepped through the portal and it was like I was inside. Just imagine like a crystal ball or like a glass dome or like a snow globe, and inside it was the universe. But instead of being like, if you imagine a snow globe, how it's like teeny tiny little white bits of, what is it they use, plastic or wax or whatever, and it's got like, the figures in there. It's like I was almost as big as the snow globe. Like I took up from top to bottom, like a large percentage of the snow globe. So if you were looking at the snow globe, I was the scenery in the snow globe. I can't explain it. It's like I was a giant and I had full control, full access of the universe. And I was just walking around it like I was like taking a walk in the park or something. It's the only way I can describe it. But I know that because I can still see the quotes and stuff. You know, like memes, how people put quotes up saying things. But they were quotes of like positivity and love and guidance and all that sort of thing. But I was also quoting like philosophical quotes, you know, from philosophers and like proverbs from the Bible and all that sort of thing. Because I was taking a test, but it was a courtroom. It was an outside courtroom. And Keir Starmer was not happy. Like he knew it was over. Like he knew it would, whatever it was I was saying, he knew it was over and he was going to have to deal with it. And then whoever the judges were at the long table were really, really proud of me. They were so happy at what I'd done. I'd absolutely nailed whatever the test was that I'd done, but it's like I was a lawyer in a courtroom, like giving evidence, and the people sitting in the rows of seats were just sitting there listening to me. And then when I closed the book with all the teeny tiny little Switzerland flags on it, they said, you know, were praising me and said, you now, like you passed the test, now you can go. And when I walked down the aisle, out like the rows, you know, like a wedding aisle, like an outside wedding aisle, I was walking down the aisle, but it turned into the aisle of a aeroplane, and I was about to take my seat in business class. And when I stepped through to go and be with my boys, a portal opened up, like in the middle of nothing. It wasn't like from the ground up. It was like, you know, when you hang a mirror on a wall, imagine like a portal being hung like a mirror, but there's no wall. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger. The closer I walked to it, and I stepped through it, and it's like when I peeked, like on the other side of the mirror, instead of my reflection, it was the universe. And I stepped through, and I was like walking around the universe like I was walking around outside, but it's like the universe was small to me. So, like it was small and I could navigate my way around it. And it was warm. And I was just in awe. And I felt so happy and so at peace and so content and so proud, but not in an unhealthy way. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like everything was worth it. This was my reward. And then I heard a baby cry, and I turned around, and the brightest star in the universe came flying towards me and hit me and knocked me to the ground. And I woke up at Lake Geneva, and I know it was Lake Geneva because there's that castle on Lake Geneva that I was looking at that I put up on the picture of one of my videos when I first discovered that when I first decided, yeah, I'm going to Switzerland. So don't quote me, which is funny because I had to memorise quotes. But I think that I think this means obviously I'm going to Switzerland. I'm not going anywhere else. And I don't know any famous landmarks in Switzerland, unfortunately, other than this castle on Lake Geneva. And I think you can see like the Italian Alps or something on the other side. I don't know the name of the castle because it's a. I couldn't pronounce it even if I tried, but I know it because I put it up as my as my thumbnail on the video the other day when I had decided when I figured out Switzerland was home. So this might be to do with my space program, and I think that star is my daughter or my child. I can't assume I'm going to have a daughter. I hope I have a daughter. I really need to have a daughter because I can't pass some of this stuff on to my sons. I kind of, she's one of the reasons why I agreed to be put through all of this. She's one of my rewards. So, and because my boys will be there when I build this foundation and when I build my space program. And I can't imagine they wouldn't not want to get involved, especially when it came to building the actual navigation system. Gabriel especially, I can't assume, but they were there. I just remember when I turned around, like I heard the baby and I turned around, and when I saw the sun, or the star rather, come flying towards me, it was like it was sprinting towards me to throw its arms around me. And I'm going to be honest, and I might get emotional, it was like I was seeing Amber again. It was like a reunion because I was just overcome with so much love. It was like she was running towards me to throw her arms around me. It was a blonde, I just remember seeing like a flash of blue eyes and blonde hair. This beautiful, 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 probably about a year and a half old. Like it was just a flash because it came flying towards me so fast. I just got a flash of her and it looked like Amber when Amber was a baby. And she had, her hair was so blonde that when you wet it, she went bald. And she had when she was a little bit older, she had a lot of hair, but her hair was so blonde that when you washed it, it would go bald. And she was such a beautiful baby with her big blue eyes. And it's like she was, because I haven't seen her in 20 years, hadn't seen her, 25, she died last year. And it's like she was rushing towards me to throw her arms around me with such a full force of love and excitement that it knocked me to the ground. And it was like, I knew it was Amber. And I was so happy. It was like everything just felt perfect. And then I was on the ground in Lake Geneva, and so according to God and my ancestors, because I'm pretty sure they were my ancestors, the council of elders sitting at that long table, I've passed some test. And now I get on a plane and take off to Switzerland and have my baby. And she's obviously, Amber's obviously, if you're not Indigenous, you're going to think, but I think she's ready to come back, and she's chosen who her father's going to be. And I get to go to Switzerland with my boys, and possibly, because I was navigating my way around the universe, start my little space program and build my space navigation system. There might be some engineers from CERN that want to come and work with me or something. I'm not allowed to work with CERN because they're considered agents of the devil. because they mess around with God particles and all of that. They're playing God. So God doesn't approve, and the Council of Elders gave me strict instructions on who I am and not allowed to work with. And I can't assume that that's what it was, but I've obviously just been put through some test that I passed, and as a result, I now get to get on a plane and step through a portal and have the family I always wanted, my boys, and because they've been wanting their little sister for like ever. Wish fulfillment. My wish is about to come true. I'm going to go and live where I love with the people that I love and have the baby that I've always wanted and do what I love. And yeah, I keep seeing it in my head, turning around and seeing that bright star. She was like a bright golden star, just pure gold, like the brightest thing in that universe. And she came rushing towards me. It was so fast, like pew, like lightning, like the speed of light. But it was full of like reunion and affection and love and excitement. And you know, when you get off a plane, you land, and the people that you're waiting to see on the other side, you haven't seen them for years. And when you go through those arrival gates, they come rushing towards you and throw their arms around you, and you just stand and hug and kiss. And you know, it was just like that, but lightning speed, a gold star, so bright that it was pretty much the only thing I could see in that universe, rushing towards me with the full force of light, full of the most overwhelming love and emotion and reunion, and everything was just perfect in that moment because I had my boys and I had that baby, and I was where I wanted to be. And the thing is that when Amber was dying, I named that star the Amber Diamond. And it's in the Cygnus constellation, right below where the star of Behenis is, in the Cepheus constellation. And my constellation looks like a house, and hers looks like a swan, like a baby swan, flying towards the front door of my house. And when I bought the star, I showed it to her. I gave her the coordinates and that, and I said, if you ever want to look yourself up on the internet, you know, here's your coordinates. This is where you're going to go. And she was so excited and so proud and so happy. She said, when, yeah. And then, of course, when she said to me, I'm just letting you know I'm getting ready to go now, Auntie. I said to her, go up to your star and wait for me there, and go and be with Nana and Koro, and then when you're ready, come back down, blah, blah, blah. And I said, don't forget, I said, and then when it's my turn, I'll meet you up there. And she said, it sounds good to me. She was ready to go and take her place in the Cygnus constellation. She was ready to be a star. Because Amber Diamond is a character from my Art of Creation TV series. She's the cosmic weather girl, a meteorologist. She represents the indigenous character in the show, because they're all from different religions and faiths and cultures and parts of the world, like all the characters are. She represents the Māori, the indigenous New Zealand character. And she's also the Amber Rose, Princess Amber Rose, from my version of the Disney, like Snow White and Cinderella. I just haven't written her story yet, but she's Princess Amber Rose, and she's the character that's born from the end of becoming spellbound. So she only died the 29th of September, so it's still fresh. I'm still mourning her. I don't think I'll ever get over the loss of losing her. But there she was, and she was so happy to. It's like she was jumping inside of me. She hit me so hard it knocked me to the ground. So I don't like almost like she was implanting herself as a egg in my ovaries, or like the golden egg. She was she was a gold star who infused herself as like the golden egg inside my ovaries or something. That's what it felt like. I don't ever want to not feel that feeling again. I've said it before, you have to forgive me when I talk about her, because she only died on the 29th of September, but I never got to say goodbye. I couldn't go to her funeral or anything like that, her memorial service, or anything like that, but my sister has gotten me some of her ashes. And I'd said to Amber, when I get my space program, when she told me she was being cremated, I said to her, if you leave me some of your ashes, I said, I'll put some of them up in my first navigation pod, the Red Lil. I've named it after Queen Elizabeth. I said, I'll put a little bit of your ashes in the space navigation system. I said, we'll take you up into space. And I said, no, I'll release it and you can go up and float off into your constellation, and you can wait for me there. And that's when she said, that sounds good to me. I'll keep some and put them in my prayer altar, like with my two familiars, Kareem and Ghibli, but I'm going to take a little bit of her ashes and put them in Red Lil and send it up. So yeah, so I think my future is my space program, and I've been given permission to do it in Switzerland, which means Switzerland will make history. Switzerland will be given the honour of making history, because I'm telling you now, we have a lot more access to the universe than NASA and SpaceX and that ever will. Because I have a council of elders who traverse wormholes and stuff just by opening them with their minds, that told me what to build. I just have to meet the right engineers in that to get them to translate my blueprint. And then my kids at the foundation, my North Star cadets, and my actual children take the program the rest of the way. I get them so far, and then the kids take it the rest of the way. But Switzerland's going to make history in space flight. Bet they didn't see that coming. So yeah, that was my dream. I passed the test, stepped through a portal, got to walk around the universe and reunite with my baby girl, and land in Switzerland with my boys. the peace and love that I felt was so overwhelming. It's going to carry my energy for the rest of the day. I'm never, I'm never not going to forget this feeling that I feel right now. It's, it's overwhelming love. I feel a sense of overwhelming love and peace and reunion and rebirth that I think when I get up to go to the bathroom and make my coffee and that, I'm going to feel like I'm walking on air. I just keep seeing the little teeny tiny Switzerland flags. So, yeah, I'm going home and I'm going to build my family and build my school and my space program. And I'm going to take Switzerland on a journey with me through time and space to the final frontier. I know how gravity works. I know how momentum works. I know how time works. I know the importance of balance inside the atom. I know how magnetism works. I know how to sit inside quarks. I've navigated energy through quarks and gluons. I documented it on X to ride the to ride the slipstream of time as it's becoming part of evolution. I know how to do it. And the way that I was told to build my space navigation system handles it beautifully because it lets gravity and momentum do the work for me. Gravity, momentum, and magnetism do the work for me. I just need someone who's smart enough to take what it is when I sit down and talk to him. But in that dream that I had where I met him and his name was David, when I told him, he was walking around with a clipboard, writing everything down, and when I told him what I was being told to say and, what I was seeing in that, he was stunned because it was so simplistic but so perfect that he couldn't believe it, and he was insistent. Like, I have to, like, I have to be a part of this. He was so insistent that he was a part of it. He was insisting that I remember his name, which is why he almost shoved his name tag in my face, so that because I'm only allowed with the people that the council have said I'm allowed to work with. I can't work with just anyone. They have to be people that get what it is that I'm working on and who understand me, who don't judge the fact that I do physics but I can't do maths. And this man David was so excited. He desperately he was going like he was desperate to be chosen. Remember me. And the thing was, it's like he knew who I was, knew what I was doing, knew what I could do, and he just had to be a part of it, because to the point where in my dream that I had like a couple of years ago, he was making sure that I remembered him in the future, which means that he understood I was a time jumper and was making sure that he was a fabric of my future timeline. So, yeah. So that's my dream. So I'm busting to go to the wharepaku now. So I'm going to go to the toilet and I'm going to make myself a coffee and contemplate my orb. Because, yeah, I feel incredible. I know I'm crying, but that's just like joy, tears of joy. Because my baby girl, she's, in the dreams I've had before, she's been Amber. the adult. But in this one, she was the baby, so she's reversing. She's going back to the beginning, de-aging, going backwards to become a baby again. It might be why the other day, when I had that dream where I made the peanut butter on toast and put it on the door to make the offering so that I could see her in the hospital bed. When I said to her, "Why did you leave so fast?" and she said, "Don't worry about that, I just need you to wake up." I think her being in the hospital bed and that might be have been representative of, because she looked at like how she did when she was about 16, was her getting ready to be like healing and getting ready to come back. And my daughter is the ninth element. I'm the eighth element, so I'm death, earth, fire, water, air, ether, creation frequency or God frequency, or God particle, whatever you want to call it, and birth. The eighth element is birth, but the ninth element is resurrection, because it's like the infinity symbol. The Holy Spirit is like the infinity symbol, and resurrection, the rebirth of the universe, like stepping into the new universe. But the new universe is created just like from the Big Bang. The universe is created from the particles of the old universe that was before the one we're in now. Because it's like the universe is created through like combustion. Like a repeating cycle of combustion that leaves a trail, because the universe is expanding so fast that if you were to stand back and look at it from a distance, it would look like it was expanding at the speed of light. But to scientists looking through telescopes and all of that, everything's moving slow compared to how it's actually moving. But it's like Big Bang after Big Bang after Big Bang after Big Bang happening so fast that if you were to look at it from a distance standing back, it looks like a series of like explosions, like combustion, a series of explosions happening at such a rapid rate of speed that it looks like the speed of light. That's the universe, the old universe and the new universe and all the universes in between. And it looks like the letter K, and the evolving universe is the part of the K that's going up, and the dying universe, where the black holes and all that are, is the part of the K that's going down. And the part of the K that's going down is dark and devolves and turns black and, gets chewed up by the black holes. Which then feeds the energy back up to the middle of the K, and everything that got chewed up in the black holes then becomes part of the combustion that explodes and turns the part of the K that's going up into the new universe. And if you look at it, the part of the K that's going up, it looks like rings, a series of rings wrapped around the part of the K that's going up, and it's going so fast, like the speed of light, that it feeds the rings and throws it off the top of the K. Like imagine if you were to put, donuts with the holes in them, just, the basic glazed donut with the hole in it. Imagine if you put an infinite amount of donuts on a stick, and we're pushing the bottom of the donuts up so that the donuts were falling off the top of the stick. That's our universe. So these universes being created as these universes dying, and the universe that's been created is created from the parts of the universe that were dying, which is why we as humans share the same gases and minerals and that as everything else in the universe, because it's all recycling. It's all resurrected from birth and death and birth and death and birth and death. But it's happening so fast that it looks like the speed of light, but in actual fact it's like a needle and thread that's sewing itself to create the fabric of time, which then the flashes of light is the nebula creating everything from the black holes and then taking photos of it all as it's expanding, so it remembers it, like the synapses of the brain taking snapshots to remember everything it's witnessing. You know how we have memory. Well, atoms remember everything it creates and keeps a record of it in the universe and plays it back with paranormal activity, stone tape theory and all that. It's just exactly the same thing. We'll see, because I can see inside quarks and I can ride the frequency of them, I understand how it all works. So I have access to the universe that nobody else does, because I did the work and passed the test. And now I get to turn what I know into a science that is going to allow my space program to navigate it all in the future. I can only take it so far. I can take it to the point of people meeting God as the creative atom inside the conscious universe. I can only take them that far, and then in the future, long after I'm gone, when I'm up there with Amber in the sky, being a constellation, returning to atomic form, they'll take it the rest of the way. And then, like my grandkids, my great grandkids, should have the space program to the point where we can be going through the wormholes if we do it right. Because going through the wormholes takes you to the universe being built on the other side. And that's where the Council of Elders are. The ones who evolved, the ones that, they're trying to say aliens, it's all bullshit. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to anything they're saying about UFOs and aliens. It's not true. It's Project Bluebeam. The real ones won't touch us with a 10-foot barge pole, because they call us the baby simians. We're immature. We're too brutal. We're too savage. And there is no being out there who supports war and what we do to babies and animals and the planet and stuff. They won't come anywhere near us. And they don't need UFOs, they don't need spaceships, they don't need alien bodies, they don't even know how to use a body. They don't know how to use arms and legs and stuff, because they're energy, conscious energy, who take on the form of whatever they need us to understand them as when they make contact, and they don't do it on Earth. That's who they are. And they're not aliens, they're brethren. They're our ancestors. They came before us. And they figured that war is bad and killing each other is bad, and that millions of years ago, where they finally got it, stopped fighting each other, and left their planets to join the space race to navigate the solar system and the universe and traverse the wormholes and that, because they evolved to a point where they were allowed to have access to it. and they've been waiting for us to catch up, but we've got morons like von der Leyen and Keir Starmer and that running our countries where they're so busy killing babies and harvesting their organs and doing bad things to kids and animals and the planet, chopping down trees, polluting the waters and saying it's for climate change and all that, that these countries are never, ever, ever, ever going to be allowed anywhere near the solar system, let alone our universe. But I did the work, and I'm allowed to start it. So whoever comes on board and invests with me is going to be helping Switzerland make history. And my gaming chair, which is why I think the boys were playing the Game Boy on the plane, because I'm pretty sure that the Game Boy in dreams represents my gaming chair, having control, in the palm of your hand of your gaming and entertainment needs in the palm of your hand. My gaming chair is going to be a huge part of that. So, yeah, get ready. Here we go. It's liftoff. We're getting ready to, so there we go. So I'm going to go wharepaku because now I'm busting. And I'm going to make a coffee. So I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Yay, Amber.